Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. In 2025, millions of people in Ukraine still require humanitarian assistance, including those displaced by conflict, those living near the front lines. Polish Humanitarian Action has been present in Ukraine since 2014, scaling up operations significantly after the full-scale invasion in 2022. Last year alone, PH reached thousands with food, water, hygiene, supplies, mental support, home repairs, and winter essentials like fuel and heaters. Today we speak with Maryna Krasnova, Kharkiv area manager for PH, to reflect on the organization's work over the past year. Thanks so much for joining us here on TVP World.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's really important to us to say.
In an important thing that you're doing, Maryna, tell us a little bit about what kind of projects. I mentioned some of those at the beginning, but tell us in your own words what those projects are and how they impact families and civilian population directly on the front lines and around Ukraine.
Yeah, well, Polish Humanitarian Action is still working close to the front line to take care about people who are staying there. And of course, we also take care about people who are moving and relocated from borders, from front lines, and sitting now in some collective sites. And in very general words, I can say that we try to make a multi-sectoral help and be there where it's really needed. Of course, nowadays we are concentrating on our winter campaign, and Polish Humanitarian Action actually covered more than 3,000 people on the east and on the south of Ukraine, and we try to do it where it's really needed and where people unfortunately stayed in their houses to survive this winter. Next, now we have a situation where our transit centers in Kharkiv region, in Mykolaiv region, and Kherson region are still open, in Dnipro also, and people moved from Donetsk region to there to finding a new peaceful location. And also we are present in transit centers to cover the basic needs, to provide all needed help for people who are living their own houses. And unfortunately, the situation is really worse from security side, and these people even cannot come to their houses for the next. And there, of course, it's the same things about mental health that provided our psychologist group for adults, for children. And we also still try to covering our help for early recovery project to make some renovations in social center, in collective sites, and bring some new, really good things to the population that stayed in Kharkiv and Kharkiv region. And not only in Kharkiv, because we operate also in south part of Ukraine. So we try to cover all regions that really need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for helpers, for an NGO, I mean, this is dangerous work. You mentioned their security. I'm just wondering, in all this work that you do there, I mean, how do you, let's say, make sure that you're safe? What are the operational challenges, the risks that you and others there face?
Well, we have very strict security rules and operate due to some humanitarian and security standards. Of course, we cannot go close to the front line. I mean, we operate still on 50 kilometers from front line. Yeah, but again, we try to care about also team, about our staff, and do it with some protocols. But also we are joined for some humanitarian convoy, which covers some really zero zones and zones where it's not really secure to be there, but we try to do it together with partners and with other NGOs.
Mm-hmm. And we're also often talking about winter prep. I mean, the winter is upon us now. Give us a bit of a sense, the kind of supplies that you've delivered. Is there enough? Is everything there that's needed? What more can be done to help Ukrainians now at this difficult winter time?
The winter time in Ukraine is really difficult nowadays. We have a really bigger power outage and blackouts when people don't have electricity and heating for 8-10 hours per day, and still situation it's really under control by government. But again, we needed to add it to humanitarian sector, and for example, this year we covered it with cash assistance to people who are staying close to the front line, to give them opportunity to buy fuel and to stay this winter in their own houses. Also, it can be a in-kind donation where people are receiving from our partners and from our implementing partners the firewoods, briquettes, and other things. And of course, it's still needed for Ukraine in general, for institution, for other things, generators, some solar station, and other things, like to replace that system that we have now. We try also concentrate to install some solar station for some institution, to give them opportunity to work instead of this all things and other, unfortunately, not good situation. You see that, yeah, now I'm at home and I have electricity, but I think it's not for now like a real, and that we have it's every day. So we try to split it and to try still living our life instead of this all things that nowadays going in Ukraine. But the main things for winter companies that we start in August, it was to cover all people in need with cash assistance that they can really buy fuel for this winter season. And it's mostly covers the rural area in Kharkiv and Kherson region.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as you said there, I mean, the idea of power going off is very real, outages, blackouts, etc. I mean, that also has an impact on your mind. I'm just curious about this because I think, PH, you run, I think, 16 different psychosocial units, centers that go around and make sure mental health is taken care of. Tell us about a little bit of that kind of impact. How crucial is that now? I mean, heat and light is one thing, but the psychological support. Tell us a little bit more about why that's so important.
Yeah, we are still concentrate to provide the social support to people who are requested this. Yeah, we work with personal consultation, of course, and group consultation, and we still have some social centers in our regions that still provide a lot of support to local population, to local authorities. We work with social workers who are still working there. We are working with some other doctors and people who are like first line responders to give their support, because they are first who face it with all these problems and they really also need the coverage. And of course, the average person also can request this support and receive the first psychologist aid. Yeah, and then the main sector is also to stay in transit center and to work with people who just joined from this war area to provide first assistance into stabilization. I can say that we are on the 4 years war escalation, and of course people find some resilience and try to make sure that they still life going on. But of course the psychology supports now is so popular in Ukraine, and unfortunately not all people can do it by their own selves to buy some services. That's why PH and all other services and providers who give it still really needed.
Mm-hmm. And also, if I may, I want to ask you also personally, I mean, you've worked with this organization. I mean, you're surrounded by, as you said, blackouts. There's a lot of demands on you and your team. Tell us a bit more in this past year. What has been, let's say, the most rewarding moment? Which has been the most challenging? And what do you hope will happen next year with support for Ukraine?
My team is really strong, and all Polish Humanitarian Action in Ukraine mission really strong, because we try to survive everything, and we should be ready for things that really change and should be really agile. We all hope that next year it will be more peaceful and probably some things change, and we will more concentrate not for humanitarian aid, but for more early recovery project, to rebuild and to restart some things in Ukraine. But again, we should be ready even for worst scenario, when we will receive more relocated, when we receive more people who need really humanitarian aid close to the front line. So I hope that everything change for the better, but we really need to be strong and to be agile in our programs, and we hope that we're still receiving this support from all world, that just to say to Ukraine that we are really strong.
Okay. So, and also, I mean, as viewers are watching, I mean, what is the best way now to help your organization? How could they get involved? Just briefly before we close.
So we usually have this action in Poland, and you can donate in our websites. Yeah, you can send some donation, you can send some things to our headquarters in Warsaw and connect with our office in Kyiv, of course, in our local offices. So we are really ready to receive any help that can cover Ukrainian needs right now, and we are open for all donors and people who want to stay with Ukraine and to help us.
All right, so there you have it. Not just emergency relief, it's also fuel for the winter. It's also support for families. It's everything, and it's really, really important. Look, thanks so much for sharing your story and what you're doing there with your team. That was our guest here, Maryna Krasnova from the Polish Humanitarian Action. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.